Hello, Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com here with your Hurricane Pro and HD video blog for the 23rd of July 2013. Taking a look now at Invest Area 98L out here in the far eastern Atlantic. Got a 60% chance of tropical cyclone formation over the next 48 hours or so. A very well-defined tropical wave out here. Large envelope of moisture associated with it. A rather impressive system for July 23rd. And if it was a month from now, I would say this would be a shoe-in to develop. But there are some factors out here that are going to go against this system, and it's probably not going to do much. We'll see. You never say never, but the environmental factors are starting to stack against this system, and it may not allow it to develop very much. Let's take a look at a very neat satellite picture of the system. This is from the eastern Atlantic. And you can see the west coast of Africa here as this loads up. And there's the tropical low, the tropical wave. This is shower and thunderstorm activity developing on the western side of the circulation. I think you can clearly see the counterclockwise circulation to this. Why isn't it a tropical depression just yet? Well, you notice that the convection here, and by the way, this line that comes across is nighttime. Encroaching across Africa and the far eastern Atlantic. So you definitely have a low-level center with this system, very well defined. But the convective activity, that shower and thunderstorm cluster, is on the west side of the circulation center. It's only been around for a few hours, really, maybe half the day. If it's still there tomorrow, and it's blossoming even more, so better organization and persistence, then I would see that this would be upgraded to a tropical depression very easily. It's just south of the Cape Verde Islands right here, very, very far east out here in the Atlantic, kind of a rare thing to have happen this time of year. It does happen, but it is pretty rare to see it happen, especially this time of the hurricane season. So let's take a look at a couple of things here. This is the vorticity signature. You know how I like to talk about vorticity or spin in the atmosphere. And here it is, way out here on the right-hand side of your screen. Look how round that is. I can't even draw over it. My drawing skill is not quite as good to trace how round the system is. So that's a very healthy vorticity signature, in my opinion. And you saw on the visible satellite shot, it has a nice rotation to it. Pretty good organization with a low-level swirl. And it's just lacking the deep, organized convection needed to classify it as a tropical depression. A close-up shot, let's see where that is, of the system. This is really neat, coming from the University of Wisconsin site. This too showing the vorticity signature, nice and round with the system, lots of spin in the atmosphere. Those are the Cape Verde Islands right there. Now the rest of what we're looking at here are sea surface temperatures, and I want you to notice this blue color right here correlates all this over here is 25 degrees Celsius. The green is 26 degrees Celsius, and so forth and so on. So basically, everything south of this line right here is about 79 to 80 degrees or warmer. The tropical low, 98L here, is moving on off to the west and west-northwest. It's going to encounter some cooler water, and its circulation, that broad circulation, will bring in to the envelope of energy it's trying to bundle some of that cooler, drier air and less energy-laden air to the north here over this part of the far eastern Atlantic. That's one of the reasons why it's probably not going to have a lot of time to do much. And the other reason is the wind shear. I think I put in a shear graphic. I did. This is from the University of Wisconsin, by the way. So what's what? Well, here's the east coast of the U.S. Outline that for you real quick so you can get your bearings. All right, so here's the far eastern Atlantic. These upper-level winds here are all screaming out of the west and the southwest. Pretty strong. There is light upper-level winds in the vicinity of the tropical low, 98L, but it does have some wind shear to fight, and that may do it in. I think it's going to last a little bit longer, though, as an identifiable, trackable feature across the Atlantic here than originally thought. I don't think it'll be very strong, but you folks in the islands, several days down the road, 5-6 days from now, could have to deal with a pretty potent tropical wave, showers and thunderstorms, maybe a depression, but I believe that the environmental conditions are going to be enough to put the lid on this system pretty swiftly. We shall see. Another sea surface temperature map I wanted to show you from the National Hurricane Center. There's that dip in the 26 degree isotherm, the 26 degrees Celsius isotherm. So basically the tropical system is going to move along in this fashion, and part of the circulation will extend over cooler sea surface temperatures out here in the far eastern Atlantic, and that'll probably help to keep it from developing much. And take a look at this. The GFS showing a huge ridge of high pressure. If you think about the atmosphere as a topographic map, this would be a very tall mountain right here, and these contour lines on the weather map here, they're called height lines. This is truly a large mountain of air building over the central Atlantic here, and that real strong high pressure itself going to help to whisk this system along. Just the very nature of the very strong high pressure, maybe injecting some dry air from the northeast Atlantic into it. But that is a mountainous ridge. In fact, right there is a 600 decameter ridge height line. This means that the ridge of high pressure over the Atlantic extends well into the atmosphere. The 500 millibar field extends all the way up to 6,000 meters into the atmosphere. That's really high up to get to 500 millibars. So the air is thick, stacked up out here. Just interesting to see. Some of that does play into the development or non-development of the system. And again, you folks here in the islands, you're going to want to keep an eye on this over the next several days as it may come your way. This is 60 hours or so. Not much reflection at the 500 millibar field of our tropical system, which leads me to believe that it won't be very strong. But nonetheless, you folks here in the islands over the next several days may have some increased showers and thunderstorms to deal with as 98L heads your way. Other than that, one system in the eastern Pacific not even worth mentioning because it's going to move away from land, so that's great news there. The rest of the tropical Atlantic, Gulf, and Caribbean are nice and quiet. So we'll keep an eye on 98L, see what happens, and hopefully it won't be much because, again, we're closing in on August, and we know that within the next 30 and certainly 60 days, probably going to have some pretty significant events to deal with. So let's enjoy this quiet time while we can. Again, I am Mark Sudduth for HurricaneTrack.com. That's my website. Always an honor and a privilege to do these videos for you on Hurricane Pro in HD. I'll be back with more for you tomorrow morning.